We are recording.
Great. Well, welcome to the breakout that's going to be focusing on solar and Solarize. And we have two speakers. Bryan Hutchinson is a seasoned accountant, and he currently works part-time for the Energy Co-op, which many of you know is a member-owned nonprofit cooperative here in the Philadelphia area. And he's been the past treasurer with them as well. Locally, he's a member of the East Goshen Sustainability Advisory Committee, the West Chester Area Clean Energy Future, which is sponsoring this as a steering committee member. And he's the former president and treasurer of the Chester County Citizens for Climate Protection, one of the earliest organizations focusing on climate. He's been a home energy advisor and is passionate about helping people reduce their energy use and working with them directly to transition to renewable energy. Drum roll, please. He installed a 5.1 kilowatt hour rooftop solar system in his home this past October. And he's proud to say that his last month's electricity bill was, this is really where you need the drum roll, please, $14. So welcome to Bryan. And we're also delighted to have Meenal Raval, who lives very lightly with a focus on low carbon and zero waste. She's an active volunteer with the Sierra Club's Southeastern PA group, and specifically the Ready for 100 campaign. And she went above and beyond to support the Ready for 100 teams, and she formed Solarize Southeast PA in 2019, which we'll hear some about with a colleague, Marion Biddle. She lives in Mount Airy in a row home, which has 22 solar panels. And this 6.1 kilowatt system generates enough to power her all electric home for heating, bathing, cooking, and transportation. So there are no fossil fuels for this gal. So we are thrilled to have the two of you to help lead this discussion. Welcome and thank you.
Okay, thanks, Paula. I think the first thing I need to do is I need to share my screen so that I can get our slides up, and bear with me because I am, okay, here we go. So can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, so this is the information. I'm sorry, we should have had this out while Paula was introducing Meenal and myself. So I think Meenal's going to start off with sort of just a general overview of the Solarize Southeast PA program. If you want to say a few words about that, Solarize, Meenal?
Sure. We are, like the Ready for 100 campaigns, we're here to support our neighbors in making the decision. So we're not pushy salespeople to hurry up and sell you something. We want to educate our neighbors. I live in Philly, but like our neighbors in Chester County for tonight, we want to educate them so that when they spend whatever it is they spend, they're happy with their decision. So we do that via emails or personal one-on-one phone calls. We review people's proposals they get from installers. And if they don't know which installer, we can suggest installers, but our goal isn't necessarily to do that. Our goal is to make sure you're happy with the system you end up with, and then to hurry it up and get you going on solar. That's good enough an intro for now.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Meenal. Let me see, we'll go to the second slide, and I'll just read a few comments about what Solarize Greater West Chester is doing. So Solarize Greater West Chester is actually a local chapter under the Solarize sort of banner. And Solarize Greater West Chester's mission is to promote and advocate on behalf of people and businesses in the Greater Westchester area interested in learning about the latest opportunities in distributed clean energy generation, much like what Meenal was talking about with Solarize Southeast PA. The GWC team is specifically focused on the Westchester area, but we are a part of the larger Solarize Southeast PA program. Lost my spot here. Here we go.
So this is Bryan's first year at educating people on solar, and several of us are in the back end to support people like Bryan in each of their towns. I'm also running with Bill Saby, something called Solarize Montco. Similar thing, we have local volunteers from different towns stepping up to talk to their neighbors, but we're here before the installer to like help answer other questions that someone like Bryan can't. Sorry, Bryan, I just have to.
That's okay. You basically covered everything that we will do, just like Solarize Southeastern PA, emphasizing the fact that we could provide a free general overall assessment. We'll never send you a bill or expect a referral fee. We basically are neighbors helping neighbors navigate the complex process of distributed energy. And we'll go to the next slide. There we go. So, as you can see, this is a solar permitting process flow chart from the West Goshen Township Solar Energy Systems Ordinance. Kind of a complex array of permitting process flow. So the permit process can be different in each of the 6 municipalities. I'm pretty familiar with the East Goshen process since I went through it last year, and we'll be working to become familiar with other townships and establish relationships with the appropriate people in each township. So volunteers will be needed for this task. We need help getting the word out about Solarize Greater West Chester and making connections. We will be working with the 6 EACs and would welcome partnerships with other groups and organizations in the area. If you'd like to volunteer, I'm sure Bill Saby has already volunteered, contact us using the contact tab at Solarize Southeast PA under the local teams tab. So I am going to go to the next slide. So these are basically showing what Greater West Chester Solarize will and will not do. So let's talk now about the things that we're going to do and what we won't do. So we will be educating residents about solar. We will be promoting and marketing the 6. Excuse me, I lost my part here. We will be promoting and marketing the 6 surrounding townships in the Greater West Chester area. And we will provide a first level evaluation and make some recommended actions. So what we're not going to be doing, which is a little bit different than what's the traditional model from Solarize Southeast PA, is that we won't be making referrals to installers or producing RFPs for group purchases. If you want a referral, Solarize Greater West Chester will provide you with homeowners in your area that have installed solar so you can talk to them. We will also be an advocate for the resident and help during the process. It's always best to talk to someone who's knowledgeable and has gone through this process before. I might just add that when I was going through the process for over a year, Solarize Southeast PA was very, very helpful. Both Meenal and Marion helped me in many, many different ways. So I can't thank them enough for that. So I wanted to just go through, I wanted to show you some aerial pictures of solar rooftop in the 6 townships. So the first we have West Town and East Bradford. Of course, these 2 townships make up, are 2 of the 6 townships that make up the surrounding Westchester Council of Governments that we cover. And the next slide.
So let's look at that roof, Bryan.
Sure.
So that first one on the left is the panels are on one pane with looks like the back of the house because that's the gap is the chimney. The one on the right, it's a much more complex roof plane, and that's interesting that they put the panels on two of the planes. So they can have, they're both pitched roofs, but they're very different roofs as I see them. Just wanted to show a roof is not a roof.
Sure.
Please.
Thank you. So these are two other examples of rooftop solar in West Whiteland. And I guess to point out what Meenal was talking about in the previous slide, there's definitely on the house in Elmwood Avenue. It has a number of different solar panels on a couple different areas. It almost looks like there might be solar panels on a garage and then on the main roof and maybe on another structure there.
The middle one looks like it's on a flat roof, whereas all the others so far have been pitched roofs. So that's the difference.
Correct.
Just today, I got an email, someone panicking. They're rehabbing a house. It's a row home with a flat roof. Can they have solar? And I'm like, yes. That's the easiest because there's no penetration. The panels just sit on your roof and weight down with cinder blocks. So message from Jim. All right, anyway, that's just a little bit about flat roofs.
So here's an example of some solar roofs from West Chester. Obviously, Westchester Borough building. Excuse me, Westchester Borough. The picture on the left is I think a multi-family apartment complex.
The green tree, yeah, that's a bigger building. That's a good size system.
Here are two examples in my neighborhood. Obviously, the one on the left at 1429 is my system. I have 15 panels there, soon to be 21, hopefully. My neighbor down the street actually has a number of different panels, and I believe he has 34. And the reason why he has so many panels is that he has a power purchase agreement. He decided to go that route, and I guess based upon the fact that it is a private company trying to recoup its costs as quickly as possible, they basically put solar panels on the south side and on the northwest side and on the garage. Not sure why they put it on the northwest side, but it's a company. So
you mentioned power purchase. Let me quickly say what that is. It means you get solar with no money down. You just make monthly payments. Mostly we recommend that people put money down. It's the most affordable way. Price is the most cheapest way, maybe not affordable, but if you don't have the upfront funds, you can get a lease option, and the fancy word is power purchase agreement.
Thank you. Now here's an example in West Goshen, which is in Henry Alexander's neighborhood. And this is an example of a solar ground mount system. This particular resident was on the 2019 Chester County Clean Energy tour. And I remember going, and he did talk about how he had geothermal, all electric house, and then decided to put in the ground mount system because that was the best way that he could recoup and cover all of his electricity costs. Here's some examples.
I'm sorry, Brian. I don't know if it's okay for a committee member to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I'm just wondering why. So is it mainly costs that determine whether you have a ground mounted system versus rooftop? Because clearly that takes up a lot of space on the property.
Well, actually, he decided to do the ground. From what I remember in the conversation in the tour, he basically made the decision to do the ground mount because, again, he could fit more panels on a ground mount system than he could on his roof.
And he's got a really large roof.
Well, he does, but as you can see, the only south-facing side is broken up in the middle with some skylights.
Gotcha.
And I just remember him saying it was better. He did have to go through a little bit more permitting process because they actually were concerned that he needed to put gravel underneath where the water was supposed to run off, because there was the building code people were concerned that he might have a lot of runoff there. But his response to that was, well, I get a lot of runoff from my roof too. I don't have to put gravel underneath my gutters. So.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Another couple pictures showing some larger installations. And finally, a picture of the Aqua water treatment plant, which shows that even the utility companies are looking to install and have installed. So Meenal, do you want to go over this particular slide?
Sure. We were comparing the different counties in our area, and you've highlighted Chester County. Basically, New Jersey leads because they have better policy for solar. So that tells us that we need to work with our state legislators on that. But within Pennsylvania, within our PA counties, Chester is leading in the number of installations according to this, which is good. Well, it's not leading. Why did I say that? 1,600 versus 2,500 in Montgomery. It's just a comparison. And I was wondering if we want to do a little challenge between Chester and Montco, since we have Solarize Montco going at the same time.
Yeah,
you ought to consider to let's say, who gets the most by the end of the year.
Right. I think we should have we'll have to figure out what it is that we're going to give up when we meet our challenge. But I'd like to see Chester County installations double within the next 2 to 3 years. And there's really, there's no reason that can't happen. One of the pilot programs that we're doing through Solarize Greater West Chester in my neighborhood is we've identified 73 out of 173 residential houses that are very similar to the one that I have, that either have the same or more solar capacity than my house. So what we're doing is reaching out to those individual residences and trying to get them interested in a free assessment. So we'll see what happens with that.
What's the next slide?
Questions?
Okay. Can I tell a story about someone from Horsham?
Sure.
We got an email a couple days ago. Someone said, oh, they're about to sign a contract with some company. Can we give them a call? So I picked up the phone and called them, and she had to tell me about a negative experience with an installer. I won't name that company, but the point is, she was like, somebody's got to know, you can't work with these people. I'm like, I know them. I don't recommend that company. But she goes, the company we're about to sign up with is this company. And I go, they're fine people. You like the people, the personality you work with. I'm telling you, we've heard nothing but good stuff about that company. They're locally owned. They're good guys. So she was calmed down. And I said, and if you want, I'll look at the proposal and I'll see if it makes sense for you. And she was like, you would do that at no charge? I'm like, yes, that's exactly what we're here for. Yeah. I didn't send the referral to this company. You found them by yourself, but I want to make sure you get something you'll be happy with. So yes, I'll spend 10 minutes and look at it and tell you what I see in that before you sign up and spend all that money. And this was afterwards, I find out this is an all electric house and it's 6,000 square feet. So I don't know the system size yet. She'll send me the proposal, but okay, they're spending a lot of money. It's a big house, all electric already. So that's one story. The other one is we do educate people on all the stuff Jim talked about, the reduce and the electrify. So that's all part of what we do. We don't just sell solar.
Right.
I'll wait for questions.
Bill, Paula, Melanie, any questions? We have probably about a minute or two left.
Bryan, you mentioned payback. What did you learn in terms of what's typical for on how you size it?
Well, it's interesting because, as everybody knows, every township is a little bit different. East Goshen had a fairly rigid building code requirements. So Initially, there was a requirement that the panels be 3 feet from any edge of the roof. Unlike some of the other surrounding townships like Westtown or West Goshen. So that limited the number of panels that I could put on my roof. However, because I'm a I currently purchase renewable energy from the energy co-op, my generation costs initially are approximately twice as high as the generation cost of PICO. So I've done a number of different analysis on that. And even my return on investment currently, based on 9 months of solar, is now at about a 7% return on my investment. Now, I did the calculations. If somebody was a PICO generation, if they had PICO for their generation, that would be more of a close to about a 3 or 3.5%, 4% return on investment. And my payback currently is going to be about 14 years. So, but what I'm learning is, as Meenal will agree, is the more panels you can put on your roof, the less the cost, the lower, the quicker the payback.
Well, we had a discussion at our Solarize Montco meeting last week about payback. And so I want to share my numbers with you, Bryan, afterwards, because I have 7.75% for my own install. And I'm not an accountant, so I'm not sure I did the math right. But since people asked, I thought we'd better share that one. The other point you made, Bryan, about bigger systems are cheaper, or more panels makes it cheaper. Basically, the installers offer you a turnkey price for the system. So they do the work with PICO, with the local government. They do the procurement. So it's not just selling you panels. They take on a lot of responsibility. And so all of that, whether you put 5 panels or 25 panels, they still have to do all that work. So that's why we recommend you can jam as many panels as you can on your roof.
But there is economy of scale, because before I learned that the East Goshen Township required this 3-foot perimeter, I'd already had proposals from several vendors, and the size of the system was a 9.6 kilowatt system. So the cost per watt on a 9.6 kilowatt system is considerably less than the cost per watt on what I currently have. So I think we need to go back to our to the main session, because we're now at 6:59. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we will exit our breakout rooms. Thanks for attending. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you very much, Bryan and Meenal, and you can stop recording.